A thought came to me this morning. What if all the anger and the aggression that we see in black people is the result of like many years of torment and violence and torture and oppression that was foisted upon them? A lot of white people say, what slavery was like 200 years ago, get over it. And the problem is there's a lot of ancestors still around. Every young black child in this country still has their ancestors around. And these people, these spirits, still have a lot of pain inside of them. And ignorantly, they transpose that pain signature on their children, and they act in ways that support their dark feelings. So their anger about what was done to them, their anger about justice never having really been done, although it was done under God's laws. But there, because of human beings in a fallen state, there was so much violence perpetrated on them. And I think this is an important question. It might sound crazy to say that I finally realized this after all these years. I'm 34 years old. And I've heard about this for so long, but talking about race in this country is such a weird thing. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, everyone has different opinions. Some people don't want to talk about it. Some people do want to talk about it. Some people act as if it's not an issue. I know a popular black news analyst who thinks it's not an issue, thinks it just doesn't exist. And then there's black people who say that black people can't be racist because they're just responding to all of the aggression perpetrated upon them. And I don't entirely disagree with that, because that is true. There was a lot of malevolent actions perpetrated on the black community, basically the African, the people from the continent of Africa. There was a lot, kidnapping Africans and bringing them on ships to this country to be slaves, and corralling them and oppressing them basically, and torturing them, making examples out of the ones that went astray. There's a lot of horrible things that was done, that were done. And you have to acknowledge that when you talk about racism. You can't ignore that. A lot of people think that that's 100, 200 years ago, like I said earlier, but you can't ignore the collective feeling that is there. There's a lot of past trauma to deal with, and the people are not feeling their trauma they're continuing to go on as if it's not there. I was going to make another point, but I just forgot it. Damn. Of course, there is still racism. You know, like white people are racist towards black people. They are. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people have a lot of racism. Like, just looking down at black people, you know, like you can say that there's like a cultural difference between people, and then you can magnify that and say that's just them, like that's their being, that's their essence, and it is inferior. That basically is racism. So when I use the term racism, you know, I'm using there are a few definitions, but the one that I'm using is to consider one race as inferior to your own. Anytime you do that, you are racist. So if a black person thinks a white person is inferior because of his race, you know, because God might have given certain attributes to black people which makes them, you know, superior, then they are racist. And vice versa, if a white person, you know, considers black people or a black person as a part of the black people to be inferior because of their, you know, because they don't have certain things that's given by God or whatever, you know, philosophical foundation you're using, that's racist too. So, but like I said earlier, you have to acknowledge the history. You have to understand what has gone on. And the thing about it is that, like I'm too afraid to admit this publicly, right? But privately, I acknowledge there definitely, most definitely are cultural differences. You know, I don't understand how this works because ostensibly, you know, every individual is personally unique. The person has personal characteristics. Every soul has characteristics. Yeah, I guess I think I know how that works. What I want to say is basically that, you know, every soul has a unique personality as given them by God. And the way they express themselves in a group, in an ethnicity, which is amorphous, because, you know, when you go back far enough, it doesn't really matter. So, but you know, if we talk about the race of black people, now some people will consider themselves black, and some won't. But if we do make up this, you know, this group, if we pretend that there is such a group, or, you know, we want to characterize the group. Oh, it's so hard to talk about this, but like I would say there are cultural differences. You know, there are certain expressions that you see in one group, but not in another. And you definitely see that with black people, like, you know, like rap and drum beats. You know, that goes way back. I think spoken word is more important to black people, and yet they sing very well. You know, like a positive thing that I find in black people is a lack of facade and honesty. And even when they're not honest, they are honest. Like, they're expressive, they're emotive. But you don't see that with white people. You do not see that with white people. Rarely. I mean, a keen observer can detect it. But I think we operate under a lie. Lots of times that, well, I guess everyone does to some degree. But, what am I saying? Damn. I'm losing myself in this discussion. But I think a lot of people, like, this is basically what I want to say. A lot of people think black people should be civilized, you know? Like, they should really be civilized. They should adopt the etiquette and the norms of the society that they're in. They should conform. And I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. You know, I think their unique expression, you know, is important. Everyone's unique expression is important. And furthermore, civilization, you know, some people call civilization like, you know, like what I experience now, like all around me, you know, like the streets and the concrete, these concrete jungles that we've created. You know, American cities are extremely ugly. They're extremely ugly to me. There are a few things that are natural about the urban landscape. And we've created this and we've called it civilization. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, I would say it isn't. My opinion is it isn't. So asking someone to conform to that, you know, that's a problem. But anyway, I've made multiple points in this video, and I just wanted to spitfire a little bit, as I am wont to do, and but I think I really better bring it to a close. Thank you for watching.